What up, LA? This is Ray El Barbon coming at you with episode 12 of the Bulletin Board Material Podcast. Once again, if you want to reach me, you know where to find me. Find me on the BulletinBoardMaterial.com, the BulletinBoardMaterial.com. You can find all my platforms on there. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat. What else? MySpace. Well, not MySpace. And also with me today, actually, I have a special guest. I have Mr. Audel Del Toro, Mr. Dodger, Mr. Laker enthusiast himself. You can catch him on LakersRaw Twitter. He's the head honcho over there on Twitter. So what up, Audel?
What up, man? Just chilling.
Yeah? You ready or what?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Yeah? All right, for sure, man, for sure. So why don't you tell everybody a little about what you do on LakersRaw right now?
Basically, whatever comes up, any hot takes, any news, any breaking news that comes out, Woj interviews or whatever it is, just tweet it all out. And then as far as game times, when games pop up, I'm the one who tweets the live commentary, either me or our boy Devon. Mm-hmm. That's about it. Just handling Twitter on LakersRaw.
Oh, for sure, man, for sure. So let's get into our first topic. So I don't know if you had a chance to look at the or watch the interview between KG and Dwayne Wade this past weekend. There was some pretty interesting stuff where, Dwayne Wade was kind of just talking about his interactions with Kobe as, coming into the league and how he earned his respect. But one thing that stood out to me was a story where he was talking about when he broke Kobe's nose in the All-Star game. And Kevin Garnett starts making this crazy gesture, right? Yeah, so you saw it. Yeah. So,
I saw that.
And that kind of brought me to an interesting topic, which is, what's the difference between somebody obsessive and somebody who's just committed? And in my opinion, I mean, that's the perfect difference between Kobe and LeBron. One is obsessive, one is committed. Not to say that LeBron's not a beast, but he's not as obsessive as Kobe was, as Jordan was, to the point where they're eating, breathing, freaking basketball, right?
Well, I mean, LeBron is definitely committed as far as keeping his body in shape and taking care of himself and being ready for the playoffs and whatnot. But when it comes to being like psychopathic, is like Kobe style. Yeah, there's no one that can compare it to how Kobe was on the court, and his mindset was just that psycho mindset. That's why Dwayne Wade was saying, like, he was crazy. Like, I called him a couple days after I broke his nose, and he was like, I love it. Like, come on, man.
Dude, that's a pretty good Kobe impersonation.
Yeah, thank you.
So then that got me to thinking about my favorite rivalries in the NBA. So I'll let you start off with that. Who, if you had to pick a rivalry that just kind of like was the rivalry for you, whatever point it is, whoever it is, who would you say?
Right off the bat, I guess I won't go with player on player, but I'll go with Sacramento and the Lakers, the Kings and Lakers. Yeah, that rivalry to me, when I grew up watching them in the playoffs and Lottie Divac slapping the ball out to 3-point line and Robert Horry hitting that three, like, that rivalry to me was by far like the best one.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. Then don't forget Rick Fox sitting there fighting what's his face?
Doug Christie.
Doug Christie. Yeah, I was about to say the teacher.
The teacher.
Yeah, that was a pretty good series. That's honestly, I think, probably one of my top three playoff series.
Yeah. What about as far as players? Do you have a rivalry?
Yeah, no, as far as players, I think top of my list is going to have to be Kobe and Raja Bell. And Raja Bell, they had their little, maybe their 5-year hiatus, but their 5-year little stint where they were just going at each other, where Raja took it to him and won one of those playoff series, and then they came back at him in the media, and he's like, who's Raja Bell? And, then Raja has to go on he goes and clotheslines him, and then there was reports that supposedly there was like a hit out on Kobe, I think, or something like that, where they were trying to give him food poisoning or something. But I thought that's probably one of my favorite, right up there with Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes, but Matt Barnes he's a rival of everybody. So
you don't have the Kobe stopper as a rivalry, top 3?
Ruben Patterson? I don't know, man. I never really bought into the Ruben Patterson Kobe stopper,
I never did either.
No, I mean, it was fun for like a game or two, and then Kobe just came back and gave it to him and was like, all right, let's put this to rest, right?
It's too gimmicky. Come on, man.
No, for sure. It was completely made up, and it had to be made up with the Trailblazers locker room more than anybody.
You know which one I kind of disliked was not made up or anything, but the Dante Jones and Kobe going at it.
Oh yeah, but you know what? But Dante Jones he's like the definition of a clout chaser, man.
I mean, for sure.
Dude, look at him when he was sitting there riding LeBron's coattails, right?
Yeah.
Dude, Dante Jones, man.
They started calling him Dirty Jones.
Yeah, that's right.
Because he was going under Kobe's ankles and everything. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. No, that's true. I forgot all about Dante Jones. I think like everybody else in the world.
Yeah, right.
Moving on into our next topic, the Lakers. We got 25 games left. Are we making the playoffs?
Right now, I say yes. Just as long as they beat these mediocre teams. They can't be losing to the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
They got the Pelicans twice in the next 5 days, I think it is.
Yeah.
They gotta win these games that are winnable, and they're must win games at this point. You lose to any of these mediocre teams, and you don't deserve to make the playoffs.
No, of course not. Yeah, and honestly, they have a thin margin for mistakes at this point, especially dropping that last Atlanta Hawks game, which was freaking terrible. You brought up a good point. So in the next week or so, we have Houston on Thursday. We got New Orleans. We're at New Orleans. We're at the Grizzlies after that, and then we come back to LA and we face New Orleans. So, what's your prediction in those next 4 games? What do you think they go?
I'll go 3-1. I think they definitely lose tomorrow night on Thursday against the Houston Rockets.
Okay.
Clint Capella's coming back from his injury as well, so it's going to be a tough game for the Lakers to win. So I'll take that as a loss, and then they'll win those 3 against Pelicans, 2 against Pelicans, and then against the Grizzlies.
Okay. Now, that's interesting because I think if they lose that game against the Rockets, I think that just sets like the worst tone possible for this the last 25 games. I think if they don't pull out a W in that Rockets series, I'd have to probably reconsider if we're going to make it or not. Because to me, honestly, it's a must-win game. It's a must-win game because if we end up pulling that game off, that's going to propel us into the next 3 games, which honestly should all be wins. New Orleans should be a win, the Grizzlies should be a win, and then New Orleans again should be a win. So that should put us at 4-0 if we can pull off the Rockets win, of course. But, just like everybody else, the Rockets are going to be up for the Lakers. So they're going to have a challenge for sure. What do you think about us pushing into that 7th seed? I mean, a lot of people are just hoping that we get into the 8th seed, which, at this point, I'll take whatever we can get. But, I mean, how important do you think it is that we hit that 7th seed?
Well, I mean, if you get that 7th seed, you got the number 2 seed, which is Denver Nuggets, which is a winnable series, I think. Mm-hmm. They match up well against them. I think they could beat Denver in the first round. And then if you get the 8th seed, you might be able to win 1 game against Golden State, but I'm thinking they'll probably lose and get a sweep out of that. So it's a big difference. I mean, you want to face Denver or do you want to face Golden State? No, yeah, for sure. I mean, I'd rather not face the Warriors for sure, but I mean, at this point, let's just get a ticket into the dance and we'll see what damage we can do, right? Yeah, you never know.
And in order for all this to happen, who needs to step up other than LeBron James? Obviously, we know LeBron's got to step up. He's been yipping yapping all year long, so he's got to step up. If he doesn't step up, then I mean, I don't know what to say about him. Definitely not that he's the GOAT for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. But I mean, if he does step up to the point where he gets this team into the playoffs and they somehow beat the Warriors in the first round, I mean, you got to put him up there with the GOATs. He's already kind of up there with the GOATs. Don't get me wrong. No disrespect. But if he gets this team that he has now into the playoffs and they beat the Warriors in the first round, come on, man. You got to give him props.
No, for sure. And I honestly, the last year when he was in Cleveland, I actually said if he beat the Warriors, I was giving him the GOAT title. Like chips and all, like just 5 chips and all that. Yeah. Because I've always said I don't put him over Kobe until he at least gets the 5 chips. Yeah, like he's got to at least get 5 chips in order to get over Kobe.
For sure.
If he's got 4, I'm still giving it to Kobe. But if he matches up with 5 and 5 and with the accolades and everything around it, I mean, I can't really say that he's not above Kobe, and at least in my personal bracket. Because I got Jordan, I got Kobe, and then I got LeBron there. Obviously, I'm not going to talk on Bill Russell and Moses Malone because I never saw this cat.
Of course.
So that brings me to the point of we got 25 games. What is the magic number? How many wins do we need to have out of those 25 games in order to make the playoffs?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say 45 wins is what you need to get into the playoffs. I think last year it took, 49, 50 wins to get in? I don't remember, but it's definitely a little bit lower this year. Because it's just between Sacramento, the Clippers, and the Lakers to get that 8 spot. The 7th spot is San Antonio, which they haven't been playing really well, but they've been playing well enough to I think, get that 7 seed. But I think 45 wins is what's going to take, and that's what the Lakers are 28 right now, 28 wins right now. So
yeah, 28. So you're talking about 45. So that's 17.
Yeah.
So 17 and 8.
Something like that.
They got to go 17 and 8.
Which sounds reasonable. 17 and 8.
I just think that's a little too close for comfort. I mean, I think 17-8. I mean, that's fine. I mean, I hope, but at that point, I feel like we're still kind of like. I think what'll really help us is towards the end once we start, because we have, I think, the fourth toughest schedule from here on out in the league right now. But yeah, I mean, I was reading that today actually, but I think what will help us is towards the end. We got, I think, the Thunder, and we got all these teams that are supposed to make the playoffs. So at that point, I'm hoping that these cats are probably resting people, because I think that's going to give us a couple extra wins that maybe we weren't expecting. So yeah, so me personally, I think we got to go at least 20-5. I think we got to go at least 25. I'll give them 19-6, but more than that, I don't honestly. I don't think so. I think they got to pull off at least 19 wins out of these 25.
That's tough right there. 20-5 is.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. But I mean, they've put themselves in this hole, right? I mean,
yeah.
Who told them to go lose to the Hawks? Not me.
Yeah.
Moving on to baseball, because I know you're a big Dodger fan. You heard the big news yesterday was Manny Machado agreed to a 10-year, $300 million contract, right, with the San Diego Padres. So let's get into a small game called Pendejo or Not. Pendejo, for those of you guys that don't speak Spanish, means stupid, pretty much. Stupid or not, right? So Pendejo or Not. The Dodgers made a mistake in signing Manny Machado.
Nah.
Okay. Why do you say no?
Well, straight up, because I mean, you got Corey Seager coming back, and he was our starting shortstop before Machado. And I can take the argument of if Machado was actually playing at a subpar level in the World Series, and he helped us win in the World Series, like, okay, we should have re-signed him. You know, he don't get me wrong, he deserved the money he got, the $300 million. Good, he deserves it. Yeah. All around talent. You know, he's going to put up 100 RBIs, 30 home runs every year. But it comes down to his character issues. And with this character issues, like, do you want that guy to be going into the other first baseman's leg and taking his heel out and his ankle out? Like, do you want that kind of guy on your team? You know what I mean? He was sliding into second base, putting his hand out. Like, come on, man. Like, that's just not. That's bush league. That's not real baseball. Yeah,
that's Sunday league, man. That's Sunday league.
Exactly, ball, Sunday league.
I did that stuff in Sunday league all the time.
So that's why I say, nah, man. Like.
So, would you rather him be on the opposite side of the field doing that to you guys? Because if he's not kicking out guys' legs for you, he's kicking out guys' legs under you, right?
I mean, I much would have rather him be in an American League team. I didn't want him to come to the NL West. Yeah. I don't want to see him 18, 20 times a year.
Dude, I honestly, I told you, he should have definitely signed with the Seattle Mariners just to stay out of the National League, man. The Mariners should have definitely signed this cat, man. But, you know, of course they're not going to sign him. They're not going to sign him. No, that's just wishful thinking on my part.
Yeah, super wishful.
Yeah. So, I mean, going into the fact that you think that the Dodgers made a mistake. Now, let me say something. So, we were talking about the step on when he stepped on the first baseman's foot, right? Who was it? I think it was it a cat from the Astros?
From the Brewers, the big guy.
Oh, yeah. So, whatever his name is. Yeah. So, first baseman from the Brewers. So, he goes,
Peralta.
he steps on
his... Peralta.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
So, he steps on the bag or whatever the case is, and dude's got his foot on there, and there's, like, you know, whatever ensued from that, right? But, to me, I've seen it to the point, I mean, obviously I didn't play professional ball, but, I mean, in my time, first baseman's got their own little tricks. You know, a lot of first bases, what they do is they go and they plant that foot in the middle of the bag just because they know a runner is coming down the bag. They see that foot. 9 times out of 10, those runners are slowing down. And that might give you that little leverage you need in order to, you know, to make a bang play, right? So, yeah. I'm not saying he's not dirty, and I'm not denying it. I'm not saying he is or anything like that. But I'm just saying, like, you know, other side of the coin, I wouldn't put it past homeboy to just go ahead and stick his foot out there because he knows Machado's coming down the line, just to give himself a little extra time, you know, especially if it's a tight play. And I don't recall how bang the play was, but yeah, that's one.
If you look at the replay, I'm just letting you know because I seen it the other day. They showed it on MLB Network. Uh-huh. He was running down the line, and it was a routine ground ball. So he was out by a mile already, and they showed him slowing down. And as he gets to first base, he kind of picks his leg up and kind of kicks his foot instead of like just kind of going over it. Like, it was one of those, like, he did it on purpose. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, honestly, I think he did. But I'm just saying, you know, I don't mind that guy as long as he's not sitting there actually hurting somebody. I mean, he didn't hurt anybody in my opinion. Not like the Chase Utley slide at second a couple years back. You know, because that to me was just like, whoa, that's a little. Yeah. That was really extreme for sure. But
he did do that though. He did that when he was in Baltimore. He slid into Dustin Pedroia and actually like broke his leg or broke his foot or something like that. So
yeah.
And then again, when he threw his bat, he swung through the pitch, and then his bat just released from his hands. Like,
yeah,
you know, I don't know if you want that on your team. You got to know, like, is this the kind of character that you want to be the face of your franchise?
Well, but would he be the face of the franchise if he was in the Dodgers, though? Would he? I mean, at this point, I think Kershaw's probably still the face, right?
I mean, I'd give it to Buehler at this point. The thing is, 26 years old, $300 million. If that's what he's getting, he's a superstar. He's a face of the franchise.
Yeah.
No matter where he goes.
Yeah. No, I guess you're right. I mean, unless they sign Bryce Harper or somebody like that, which, I mean, I don't know how likely that would have been. But no, that's a good point. That's a really good point. But just so we're clear, I would take that on my team in a second. So if for some reason this deal falls out of good favor and, you know, you're still looking for a home, Manny, you know, you should look up north to the northwest. You know, Seattle's looking for anybody right now. I think I actually got a letter in the mail the other day saying if I wanted to come out for spring training. So
real quick, to get back to that real quick before we end this topic. So you're telling me that at this point, and let's say Corey Seager was 100% healthy. Okay. And his most productive season, he was Rookie of the Year, and the dude is a good high-class character, baseball player, great shortstop, defensively, offensively. You'll take Machado over Seager right now.
I wouldn't take
Injuries aside, yes, but barely, by a little. Like, it's neck and neck, but I got to give it to Machado, probably just because he's got a little bit longer history that I can kind of reflect back on. But Seager, like, I know you know, I mean, Seager to me is just, I feel like he's injured, he's damaged goods at this point, and I feel like running him back out there at shortstop is just going to add more and more to that. And he's a young cat now, and I know he's had a little bit of back problems in the past, nothing major, but I mean, I've never heard an athlete have some back problems and then it not return, especially when they're young. Like I said, I personally would have signed Manny and moved Seager to first, and maybe ship Muncy, because I think Muncy had a nice season and all that, but I think that's what you're gonna get from Muncy. I don't think you're gonna get better than that. I think if anything, you might still get the bombs, but the average will come down, and you know, once he gets off the roids and whatever, his supplier slows down. You know, he'll start going back to regular Max Muncy mode, right? Yeah, I don't know about Muncy. That's a wild card for me.
The Dodgers should have sold high on him. I think, honestly,
could have.
I was saying that they should have moved Seager before the trade deadline for Bryce Harper, because I think the Nationals would have been stupid not to take that deal. If you would have said, "Hey, we'll give you Corey Seager and we'll throw in, you know, some whatever random picks," I can't see the Nationals not saying, "All right, we'll take that." I can't see that. Now at that point, now you got Bryce Harper in the outfield and you got Machado with an option to re-sign him, right? I mean, that's not bad. And then if you want to keep Muncy, I guess you'd have Muncy at first as well. Yeah. But that's my personal opinion. I know I'm not a Dodger fan, so it's a little easier for me to kind of play this out.
My only reason why I would have wanted Muncy out was to put Bellinger back at first, because I feel like that's his natural position.
Ooh,
I don't like him in the... No, he's got a Gold Glove in the outfield. Dude can just flat out get balls out there. But I just feel like his natural position is first base.
Yeah.
And when he plays in the outfield, I feel like his bat is he's uncomfortable at the plate, because he's not comfortable on the field.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just something.
No, I mean, that might be something. After that throw that I saw him make in the playoffs last year, oh my God, dude, that freak. Who did he throw at home plate?
I forgot who it was, but he threw him out. That was clutch.
Oh, dude.
And he had a couple clutches in the right field too. He was diving for the ball.
Yeah. Oh, dude, those to me were like up there with like the Ichiro throw to get Terrence Long, the Vladimir Guerrero throw from the outfield. Dude, even some of the Mondesi throws from back in the day, dude. It's just... That was an amazing freaking throw. I was sitting there with a buddy of mine, and I jumped out of my seat. And I wasn't even rooting for the Dodgers, and I was like, holy, you know. I think at this point, the Dodgers are they got a luxury to do whatever they want. They got all these players that they can really fiddle with. And
yeah, they got depth for days.
Yeah. But I feel like they got something up their sleeve, man, because I don't think they moved Puig without knowing that they got something up their sleeve at this point. But I don't know what it could be. I mean, I thought they would have signed Harper by now, but if Harper doesn't come through, I really don't know what the point of was to move Puig and all these other cats, so Alex Wood and all these other cats that they moved. So I'm going to say this just because I want to say it, because I've been wanting to say this for a while. How is it that Dodger fans give Manny the knock as far as the whole Johnny Hustle comments goes? How do they give him the knock on that he doesn't hustle and all that? But Dodger fans are the same fans who were rooting crazily for Manny Ramirez. Mr. No Hustle. Mr. Errors, Mr. Mental Mistake.
That's a huge difference. Because Manny Ramirez didn't hustle, but he put up numbers. He carried the team on his back. Like,
wow.
If Manny Machado would have put up numbers and he would have like got us a World Series championship ring, like, dude, by all means, beat Johnny Hustle. Like, I get it.
But let me ask you this though before you move on. So, why did Manny Ramirez put up such gaudy numbers when he joined the Dodgers?
Why?
Yeah.
He's a great hitter.
Oh, yeah.
No, he was probably juiced up, obviously. So.
Oh yeah, there's no denying that he was juiced. Manny Ramirez is one of my favorite players, dude. I used to grow up actually lying to kids, telling him that I was cousins with Manny Ramirez because my last name is Ramirez. So I used to always tell people, oh yeah, this cat from Cleveland. Oh yeah, he's a cousin of mine. When nobody knew who Manny Ramirez was. But so that being said, so Manny was on the juice, right? So he was cheating.
Okay.
But the other knock on Manny is that he cheats, right? I mean, I get it. He's attempting to injure somebody or disrupt or whatever the case is. But then, how do you celebrate that?
Good question. Well, I guess with Manny Ramirez, it was a whole, like, you remember when Jeremy Lin went to New York and it was Linsanity?
Oh yeah. It was like a whole like
Manny Ramirez, it was Manny Wood.
Yeah.
Manny Wood in left field. The dude was walking out to left field, like diving for dumb balls, throwing the ball.
They had the dreads. Yeah.
It was the whole like craziness going on with Manny Ramirez, and the fact that he just performed and he hit well every day, every night. He was hitting home runs left and right. He had the team on his back, and he carried them. So Manny Machado didn't do anything close to that. And if Manny Machado was juiced up, he probably would have done it.
Oh,
and
sure.
we probably would have said, hey, you can do all you want. You don't have to hustle if you keep carrying this team on your back. But he didn't do that at all.
So if he would have, let's say the Dodgers would have re-signed him, and dude comes out, hits 39 bombs, 120 ribbies, steals 20 bases, Gold Glove caliber shortstop, but he still doesn't hustle from time to time. Is there a beef with him at that point?
I'll take it. No, I'll take it because he's performing well.
Yeah.
So as long as you perform well. Look, we're in Los Angeles, man. This is like New York. The media is going to go after you. The fans are going to boo you, and they're going to let you know if you're doing well or not. So it's on you. If you perform well, by all means, do it. Don't hustle. I don't care.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel you. I get the riff. I just think it's a little bit over the top. And I feel like somebody online said this, somebody on Twitter said this, and I think it's one of the Franks on Let's Be Frank. It's a Dodger podcast that I follow. I forget which one of the Franks said this, but and I think it was them, so don't quote me for sure. But somebody said something about Manny Machado was the same as Yu Darvish or something like that. That he was pretty much on par with Yu Darvish. My rebuttal to that was pretty much the only thing that I see similar between Yu Darvish and Manny is the fact that Dodger fans use them both as a scapegoat. I think when the previous year when Yu Darvish, he effed up in the last game. I don't think you could put that on him because Kershaw had 2 chances to shut that series down, and he's the guy you pay for that, and he didn't come through. The hitters went dry the last 2-3 games, and I just think Darvish, he had a rough 3 first innings, and then he got pulled. But how many times have you seen a pitcher, have a rough first 3 innings and then settle into a groove and just kind of start mowing them down from there on out? So you really don't know what you would have done at that point. But at the same time, Manny, he was only here half a season. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't obviously what we thought he was going to be, but he wasn't terrible by a long shot. But I just think that the only similarity I find between both those players is the fact that they're both used as a scapegoat. And I think it's the fact that both of them are gone, so it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to go ahead and say that, right?
Yeah, with Yu Darvish, he was definitely the scapegoat, but he did definitely lose. 2 games? I think it was even Game 7, right? Game 7 he lost as well?
Game 7, yeah. He
and he had a chance to make up for Game 4 or 5 that he pitched in, and he didn't. So that was definitely two losses on him. You know what I mean? And I know Kershaw was 1 as well, or 2, but still, and even Jansen a couple times. Jansen, to me, Kenley Jansen deserves to take the L's because he couldn't close up games at all in the last 2 World Series.
For real, yeah. That's a very good point. Yeah, Jansen was he was shaky that season. So moving into our last topic, we got Mr. Zion Williamson at Duke right now. A lot of people are projecting him as a number 1 pick. I believe you're one of those people.
I was.
You were. So what changed?
The fact that he got injured a little while ago.
Oh, did he? Oh, see, I just got home from
Yeah.
work, so I haven't even seen that.
Let me fill you in. Let me fill you in on this. So they're playing North Carolina, and it's a big rivalry game.
Okay.
And 30 seconds into the game, he gets the ball and he like twists one way, and his knee kind of stays on one side, and dude, his foot ripped out of his shoe, like literally ripped out of his Paul George Nikes. So his foot was out, and it looked uglier than what it really was. But he went to the locker room and he never came back for the first 30 seconds of the game. So they're saying it's a knee sprain. At this point, what if it's a torn ACL or something, meniscus?
Yeah.
I still think he goes number 1 in the draft. Don't get me wrong. I still think the talent that this dude has is like above and beyond like anybody else in the draft class. So I still think he goes number 1, but that knee injury is kind of scary.
God, man, that's tough, dude. I didn't know about the knee injury. I know you were mentioning the RJ Barrett kid a while ago too.
Yeah, dude is a baller too.
So you don't think that puts him like automatically propels him into that one spot?
No. I mean, you'd be a fool to pass up on Zion Williamson, especially if it's just like a knee injury that's not major, like it's not you don't need surgery or anything. You still take Zion number 1.
Yeah.
But there's also RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish at a Duke that's got their ballers too. There's Nasir Little from North Carolina, which is good too. But definitely Zion is number 1, hands down.
Okay. All right. Hopefully, I know you said he's got a knee injury and all that, but hopefully this kid could still jump through the roof, because if he's in the league next year, we were talking about this, the hypothetical dunk contest, right? And we got right, so we could potentially have Zion in the dunk contest. We could potentially have Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine, Hamidou Diallo?
Diallo.
Is it Hamidou, or how do you say it?
Hamidou? I don't know.
Hamidou. I'll be damned Diallo. Got it.
Diallo.
Gotcha. So, I'll be damned Diallo, Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon, Zion Williamson. Is that probably one of the greatest dunk contests we've ever seen?
Hands down, that'd be one of the greatest dunk contests. I mean, you got all past champions in there, and then you got Zion, who's a rookie coming in, who's probably the best dunker in basketball right now, and he's only 19, 20 years old.
Yeah. So, is it better? Would it potentially be better than the Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine from a couple of years back?
That dunk contest was amazing. That's probably been the best dunk contest since Vince Carter.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not the best dunks, but the best competition for sure.
Yes, best competition for sure.
Woo. I remember that. It was just like you were sitting there waiting to see what the next guy was going to do, because you knew he was going to pull something out of his bag.
And I don't know if you know the Diallo and Zion Williamson actually faced off against each other in a dunk contest in high school.
Oh yeah, I think you actually tweeted it out.
Yeah.
And he used a lot of the same dunks, right?
Yeah, he used a lot of the same dunks that he won the dunk contest in this past weekend in that high school. But nobody knew about it because no one kind of seen it, you know what I mean? Until it started being tweeted out, and everyone's kind of like, oh, this guy's doing the same dunks he did in the NBA dunk contest this past weekend. Yeah.
So does that mean he's ran out of tricks for next year?
Well, I mean, he's got a lot to prove. He's got to put that championship up and see if Zion Williams could take it from him. Yeah.
So the dunk contest is great, but give me your top 3 or 4 best all-time in-game dunkers. I mean, it's easy to dunk not easy for me, but it's easy when you're a professional NBA athlete dunking on an empty court. But in-game, who are the top 3, 4 best in-game dunkers you've ever seen?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go number 1, Vince Carter. Like right off the top of the bat, Vince Carter in-game, number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, I'm gonna go Kobe.
Okay.
Kobe had a lot of good dunks, man. He in game, he had some crazy monster dunks. I can remember the one he did on Chris Paul.
Oh yeah, the Chris Paul one.
Yeah, and then the one against the Brooklyn Nets. He was kind of ending.
On 2 guys. On 2 guys. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of my favorite dunks of all time that he had was against the Denver Nuggets back when he was number 8, I think. Still, they threw the ball from like 90 feet. He caught it in the air, and he went around his back and 360'd on dude. That was one of the sickest dunks in games I've ever seen.
Yeah. What about the Steve Nash dunk, dude?
Oh yeah, when he was hanging, looking at him, like, "Are you serious?" They were about to call a charge on him though. The refs were about to call a charge, and then they're like, "Dunk, let's give him that block and one."
Yeah, and that's not even throwing in like the Dwight Howard facial and the Emeka Okafor when he came down the lane when he was in Charlotte.
Okafor, that was a sick dunk.
dunk.
I definitely Kobe number 2.
Okay.
And then for number 3, I'm gonna go Michael Jordan. just because I've seen the highlights of him. I watched him when I was younger too, a little bit, but mainly all his highlights that he had, the dude was just smashing it on guys too.
Yeah. Well,
it's a close tie with him and Kobe.
Yeah, well, he made sure that you knew that he was dunking on you for sure.
Oh yeah.
See, and for me, I probably have to put. I got Vince at the top two. Obviously, I've never seen. I think the craziest dunk I ever saw from Vince was maybe that. I mean, aside from that 7-foot jumping over that 7-footer in the Olympics. Yeah, but the best dunk I think I ever saw was there was a rebound. He came. I want to say he was on the wing. There was a shot that came up and just bounced off the backboard directly back towards the free throw line. He came underneath the basket and just went up and in one shot caught the rebound right off the backboard and then just slammed it in.
Yeah.
Just like immediately, like it was completely natural, like all reactions. But I remember seeing that dunk and I was like, holy crap, this guy is like from a different planet. Yeah, I got Vince at number 1 for sure. But I got Sean Kemp at number 2. I don't know how much Sean Kemp you saw. Oh, dude, the Rain Man.
I remember
that guy. I mean, you remember right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. Sean Kemp had some violent dunks, some really violent dunks, like a lot of violent dunks.
Like ferocious dunks, bro.
Yeah. See, and then at that point, I probably got Kobe 3, and he's maybe there with Blake Griffin. I don't know. I probably put Kobe above him, and maybe I dropped Blake down to number 4 because, Blake obviously was similar to Zion where every time he was about to take off, everybody was just sitting there with their mouth open watching him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then he had the Mozgov, obviously. When you create an actual verb out of somebody's name, and you start Mozgoving people, I think that puts you right there, right? And I know we played a little bit of the pendejo or not earlier, but going back into that game a little bit, what do you think about the fact that the Dodgers haven't signed Bryce Harper yet? Do you think that's a pendejo move or not?
As a fan, yeah, that's pretty pendejo. I mean, you got the money, you got the TV deal. Like, there's so much money there. I don't see why they just don't pony up the money and just give him what he wants, $300 million. Yeah. The only thing I think I told you about is I'm not a fan of the big 10-year deals.
Yeah.
Like you're 27, 28 years old. You're going to be there till you're 38. Mm-hmm. You kind of start wearing off after you're 32, 33. Like, your bat starts slowing down. So I'm not a big fan of the 10-year deals, but at this point, Bryce Harper is a mega superstar. So if you bring him into LA, like, he's a perfect fit, and he'd probably be the piece to get this team winning the World Series.
No, yeah, I completely agree. I think Bryce has to be the move, man. And I honestly, I don't know where. It's a LeBron move, man. It's kind of the going to LA from Washington. I don't see how he can't make that move. I don't see how Scott Boras doesn't let him make that move, right?
Yeah, no doubt. And now they got the Giants in on Bryce Harper right now. Imagine if Bryce Harper goes to the Giants. Mm-hmm. Jesus, Lord help the NL West.
No, yeah. You know what drives me crazy? I know you were touching a little bit on the 10-year deals and all that. It drives me crazy when fans say, "Oh man, don't give that fool that much money." It's like, what is it to you, man? Like, yeah, it's not your money. It's like, why are you hating on somebody just because they're ponying up for him?
Yeah.
I've never understood that rationale when fans are like, that's too much money, especially in baseball. There's no salary cap. There's no reason that team should not go over the salary cap. It's a soft cap. There's no reason. I don't care if they get a luxury. I don't care if they get a luxury hit. What does it matter to me? Oh, I'm sorry. You're gonna make 120 million rather than 140 million. Oh, my bad. I feel so bad for you, right?
Yeah, no, I get that.
That drives me freaking crazy, but that's going to wrap everything up for this week, man. I want to thank you for coming on, Audel. I know it's short notice and everything, but I appreciate you coming on for sure. Hopefully we can have you back. If you,
for sure. Down.
Time, so you're always welcome back. So for everybody else, you can catch Audel on LakersRaw Twitter. You can also catch him at Audeezy _. It's AUDEEZY _AUDEEZY _. And I believe it's the same name you have on Instagram, right?
Yeah, same name except there's 3 E's instead of 2 E's.
Ooh, okay, sorry. So Audeezy on Instagram with 3 E's and Audeezy _ on Twitter with 2 E's. All right.
Yes,
all right. So for sure. So if you guys don't see him on Twitter, go ahead and hit him up. And hopefully you'll catch him on the bulletin board a little bit more often as well. But I want to thank everybody else as well for tuning in. I appreciate you guys listening. Once again, if you guys can go ahead and share the podcast, especially off Anchor, I'd appreciate it. That gets me a little bit of change, like literal change. But I'll take it. You can't make $1 without a few cents, right? So if you guys can share, I appreciate it. Once again, I appreciate everybody that listens to me from the beginning. If this is your first episode, either way, catch me on the BulletinBoardMaterial.com if you want to catch up with anything I'm doing right now. And I'll catch you guys next week.
All right, Ray.
All right, big guy.
returns to the bar, a clock to 9. Wait a minute, stop, hold up, rewind. Room goes mine, everybody's silent. All the dudes wonder where her behind